example 4 together. Now, in this example, we're going to have a new vocab word. So let's read it. Write the standard equation of the circle that has negative 1, 3, and 2, 4 as the endpoints of the diameter. Here's our new vocabulary word. Diameter is the distance from edge to edge of the circle. So let's graph what we've got here. What does this look like? So I have got a point at negative 1, negative 1, comma, 1, 2, 3. And I have a point at 2, comma, 4. So those are the endpoints of the diameter of my circle, meaning my circle is going to go end to end around these points. Kind of like that. And we want to write an equation for this circle. So basically we want to end with our equation x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So to do that, I need to know the center of this circle, and I need to know the radius of this circle. So let's talk about how to figure these out. First thing here, I have these 2 points. I need to find the center of this circle. Basically, the perfect center between these 2 points. If you look at this visually, you'll notice that if I want to go halfway between these 2 points on the x value, they are 1, 2, 3 spaces apart. 1, 2, 3 spaces apart. If I want to go the center, meaning perfectly halfway between those spaces, 3 divided by 2 is 1 1/2. So if I go 1 1/2, my center should be at this x value. Now I can do the same thing for the y values. Notice that my y values go from 3 to 4. So there's my y value, there's my y value. And I want those y values to be perfectly cut in half. So right now they're 1 space apart. I'm going to cut that in half and do half between those 2 spaces. And if I find where these 2 meet up, there is my center. At this x value is 0.5. This y value is 1, 2, 3.5. So my center is at 0.5, 3.5. Perfectly halfway between the x's, perfectly halfway between the y's. Now, if you're a person who likes the equation kind of written out for you, here's essentially what we did. So I took the x values and I averaged them, found halfway between them. So to do that, I took the x values and I added them together and divided them by 2. And that gives me 0.5. That's the x value exactly halfway between them. And then you can do the same thing with the y values. Add them together, divide them by 2, and that gives you perfectly halfway between the y values. So now I have my center here. Erase all this stuff so we can see better. The next thing I need is the radius. So I need this distance right there. Now, this one might be a little bit harder to see. So what we're going to do is instead of finding this radius distance, we're going to find the whole diameter and cut that diameter in 2. Cut it in half, because the radius is half of the diameter. Now to find this diameter, I'm going to make you go way back to right triangles and Pythagorean's theorem. Because if you look at these 2 points, I can totally make a right triangle using the diameter between these 2 points. And I can even find the side lengths of this right triangle right here. I know that this side length is 1 space long, because there's 1 space between the y's. And I know this side length is 3 long, because it's 1, 2, 3 between the x's. Now I can can use Pythagorean's theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, to find my diameter. So 1 squared plus 3 squared equals my diameter, which is my c squared. So that's 1 plus 9 equals c squared, which is 10 square root. And I get that the diameter, this whole diameter length, is the square root of 10. That's that side of my right triangle. Now remember, the radius is half of that. So if I want the radius, I'm going to have square root of 10 divided by 2. That's half the length of that diameter. And now I have a center and I have a radius, which means I can put together an equation. So I have x minus h squared, y minus k squared, and r squared. If I simplify this, I get that. And you can plug that into your calculator, and it should give you 2.5, 5 halves. So that is the equation for this circle. That is all for example 4. In the last video for today, we're going to take just a second to look at the unit circle from secondary math 3.